Is it a little bit too early to be making this video? I think that's a fair assessment to make, but this still is a topic that I think is interesting enough at this point in time to bring up, because it kind of gives a lot of Arizona Coyotes fans, as well as, I guess, Colorado fans too, something to pay attention to as the Stanley Cup Finals goes on. You can think of this video more or less as a Darcy Kuemper video, because as the guy who is the goaltender for the Colorado Avalanche, we have ourselves what is a few conditions on the trade that initially sent him to Colorado that are being fulfilled day by day throughout this playoff run. So, let's go over Darcy Kuemper, talk about what exactly it is this trade return is that I'm talking about, and highlight just how the Stanley Cup Finals plays into what Arizona Coyotes fans could be looking for in terms of the future drafts. So, Darcy Kuemper is a goaltender playing for the Colorado Avalanche, as everybody kind of knows, 32 years old, 6'5", 216 as a left-handed catcher, and he's making $4.5 million a season until the end of 2022. He will be a free agent after this season, and it's kind of up in the air whether or not he's going to come back, but at the same time, you know, nobody really cares about that right now. Who cares about the Colorado Avalanche re-signing Darcy Kuemper? They have a cup to win. They've got 3 games left to win before they get awarded Lord Stanley's Grail, but Darcy Kuemper is the guy that should be backstopping them in order to do that. This season for the Colorado Avalanche, he posted up a .921 save percentage in 57 games played and a .254 goals against average. Now, those are some really good numbers, but in the postseason, those numbers took a little bit of a hit. He's currently at an .895 save percentage and a .268 goals against. Now, the GAA is roughly the same, but the save percentage is not nearly at the same level. He's played 11 games so far throughout the playoffs, and we've kind of noted throughout the earlier series that Kuemper wasn't the healthiest of guys out there. There were a few bad, unfortunate plays with sticks coming into his face and everything that kind of sidelined him for a certain amount of time. But at the end of the day, Darcy Kuemper is still here, he's still playing, he started Game 1, he won Game 1, and he actually did look pretty good, despite the fact that Andrei Vasilevsky had to make more saves. With that being said, though, Darcy Kuemper was not always a Colorado Avalanche player. He was on the Arizona Coyotes for a good chunk of the late 2010s, posting up really good numbers, a .925 in 2018-19, a .928 save percentage in 2019-20. This is really the year where a lot of people, myself included, were talking about Darcy Kuemper as this super underrated goaltender, a guy that, if he was just playing on a better team, would have a lot better numbers, a guy that really was just so technically skilled and competent at the goaltending position. His numbers kind of took a hit the next season where he had a .907 save percentage in 27 games played, but you could give him the benefit of the doubt because, hey, he's playing in Arizona. The fact that he even had a .929 save percentage the year before in and of itself is extraordinary. So the fact that Darcy Kuemper had one more year left at his $4.5 million cap hit had a lot of people, myself included, wondering as to where this guy could go. Now, eventually, we saw a trade go down, and I remember the reaction to this trade, especially the reaction to the video that we made about this trade. I made a video talking about how, in my opinion, the Colorado Avalanche and Joe Sakic got fleeced. It's something that doesn't happen often, but in the video I said that from a value-to-value perspective, the Colorado Avalanche gave up a heck of a lot of assets for one of the more underrated goaltenders in the NHL. Now, the reason the Avalanche needed to do this was because Philipp Grubauer was picked off by Seattle, and if you are familiar with NHL goaltending throughout the late 2010s, yeah, Grubauer was a fantastic goaltender himself, so it was really necessary for the Avalanche to get themselves a goaltender that could replace his production, and Darcy Kuemper was brought in to be that guy. Now, the reason I said that the Avalanche got fleeced was because the value of the assets they ended up giving up in this trade, in my opinion at least, did not match the value of Darcy Kuemper. I felt like they overpaid for this guy. I felt like there was just so much good going on for Arizona for what was essentially 1 year of Darcy Kuemper with $1 million retained, so he's only making $3.5 million against the Avalanche cap. This is the trade right here. The signing rights to Connor Timmins, who was a very good defenseman prospect, who admittedly was kind of playing behind a whole bunch of other good defenders in Colorado, a 2022 first-round pick, which was conditional, as well as a 2024 third-round pick, conditional as well. Now, the 2022 first, the condition has already been fulfilled. If the Avalanche pick is in the top 10 in 2022, the Coyotes will receive Colorado's 2023 first-round pick instead. They are in the gosh darn Stanley Cup Finals, so no, their first-round pick in 2022 is not going to be top 10. That pick, 31st or 32nd overall, is going to go over to Arizona. It's already confirmed. However, the 2024 third-round pick, the condition on that one, is indeed in the process of being fulfilled right now, and this is why I say that this video could be premature. There are still other circumstances that could go on that can change the fate as to whether or not Arizona gets this third-round pick. Here's the condition on that final pick. Arizona will receive the 2024 third-round pick from Colorado if Colorado wins the Stanley Cup in 21-22 and Darcy Kuemper plays in 50% of the playoff games. Okay, now that first part, if they win the Stanley Cup in 21-22, that's still not done yet. So if the Colorado Avalanche lose in the finals, that third-round pick is not going over, but the other aspect of this condition has already been fulfilled. 50% of the 2022 playoff games Darcy Kuemper has already played in. Take a look at the Avalanche and their series so far. Against Nashville, 4 games. Against St. Louis, 6 games. Against Edmonton, 4 games. So 4, 6, 4, that is a total of 14 games played. Add on 7 games for the Tampa Bay series, the Colorado Avalanche could go out there and play themselves a maximum of 21 games on this playoff run. Well, with Darcy Kuemper's Game 1 start against Tampa Bay, he has officially played 11 games in the entire postseason, which means that if he loses out on his arm or something, he gets injured in warm-up or in practice, and he's not able to suit up for the rest of the Stanley Cup Finals, imagine it goes to 7 and Darcy Kuemper is not in the net for any of the games. They play a max 21 games. Darcy Kuemper already has 11. That third-round pick is going to go to Arizona as long as the Avalanche win the Stanley Cup now. And it's interesting to note because this condition is something that you would probably assume, at least at the time the trade was made, was kind of a non-factor, right? Because, okay, Darcy Kuemper is going over to Colorado. He's supposed to be the main guy. They're replacing Grubauer with a guy in Kuemper who has legitimately been good for Arizona. So this is supposed to be their starter, right? If he doesn't play 50% of the games, it would be kind of weird to acknowledge that happening, right? But, as we noted, extenuating circumstances sometimes happen. Sometimes you take a stick in the face. Sometimes you are just not able to rebound in the best way possible. Sometimes you play a little bit and you realize, okay, crap, I actually can't move, which leads to you getting pulled and eventually sitting out for the next few games. It's been a weird playoff run for Darcy Kuemper. And even though I went out there and said that the Colorado Avalanche got fleeced in the initial trade, which, I mean, value to value, I could totally still see why I said that, because, look, Connor Timmins is supposed to be a top 4 caliber defenseman. Add on a first-round pick. I get it, it's 32 overall, or maybe 31st overall, but it could still be a first-round caliber player. And then add on a third for 1 year of Darcy Kuemper? That's a lot of value that Arizona is getting for this goaltender that they only have to retain $1 million in salary on. It's just, for what the Colorado Avalanche needed, they kind of had to overpay. And I said in the video, yeah, Colorado needed to do this. This is not something they could have just mailed in and said, okay, let's kind of take it easy on this trade. No, you needed a goaltender. You got world-class goaltending from Philip Grubauer, and that guy's gone. You need to make sure you've got somebody in net that can play alongside of Pavel Francouz and be good enough. And Kuemper just happened to be right by. So, Arizona, you guys are pretty much winners here because you just took advantage of a team that needed a good goaltender and you gave them your good goaltender. I really still do like Connor Timmins and what his potential is at the NHL level. There are a lot of great players in the 2022 NHL Entry Draft that extend to the 40-50 range, so I definitely do think the Coyotes can get a great pick towards the end of the first round with either 31st or 32nd overall. And now all you guys got to do is cheer for the Avalanche to win the Stanley Cup so you get a third-round pick in 2024 as well. This might not be the most important video topic to go out there and make, but I felt like with Darcy Kuemper actually starting games consistently again in the postseason, the fact that he won Game 1 against Andrei Vasilevskiy, and he looked pretty good while doing so, I thought I'd give some props to the guy because, hey, just a few years ago we were saying, yeah, man, this guy's underrated, he's on Arizona, they're a bad team, but he's winning games and he's making really good saves, he's such a consistent and good goaltender, and now look where we are. This guy went from Arizona, a team that was a bottom feeder for so long, they made the playoffs once because they made the play-in series, good for them, but he went from being a great goaltender in that market to the Stanley Cup Finals, where all eyes are on this guy. He might not come back to Colorado. I think it's kind of a given. I mean, that team and their cap space situation, they're going to have to re-sign some players. Nazem Kadri might be on his way out, whatever, but like, everybody's eyes are on Darcy Kuemper now. This guy has the potential to get paid next season if any team that's in the playoff hunt or the wild card hunt looks at him and says, yeah, that's our guy. Look at how he's making saves and he's beating Andrei Vasilevskiy. Here's $6 million or whatever. Mega props for Darcy Kuemper for sticking it out, also for playing all those games, because now, as long as the Colorado Avalanche win a cup, the Arizona Coyotes will get themselves an extra draft pick. Talk to me in the comments about Darcy Kuemper as well as the trade which initially sent him to Colorado. Do you have any opinions about what happened then comparative to how it is now? Do you feel a little bit differently about it? I kind of don't, but the comment section exists for a reason, so let's try to get some conversation going. I hope you enjoyed this video, Trolls 99, and bye.